Hello friends, a very good day to you all. You are welcome once again to Sovereign Telemedicine YouTube channel. Okay, I remain your host, Dr. Akibimidu Irene Emmanuel, and today we'll be talking something very interesting. Yes, it's the menstrual cycle length. Okay, and the safe period. All right. Before I dive right in, please don't forget to subscribe, click on the notification bell, um, share and like the video and give it a thumbs up. Okay. All right. So in every clinical setting during history taking, these three questions are very important that you ask a woman. First, you need to ask the woman, what's your last menstrual period? Now it's very funny, right? Because so many persons don't even know when they saw their menses last. It baffles me, literally. Yes. Now, what's up when you now ask them, oh, what's your menstrual cycle length? They're like, doctor, what's that? You know? And the third thing, most times, is how many days you bleed. And most times, most women can tell you that. So the first thing is know when you saw your menses last, and when you are keeping a date for that, you ensure that it's the first day you start seeing the menses you keep as your last menstrual period. So if you are bleeding, let's say you see your menses on the 5th of August, all right, you start seeing it on the 5th of August, and you bleed for 3 days. Let's say it ended on the 8th of August. Your last menstrual period is not 8th of August. It's actually 5th of August, because that's the first day you saw it. Alright? So, that being said, for you to be able to know your menstrual cycle length, you have to take into consideration 3 different cycles. Now, a menstrual cycle length is the number of days between one menses, when you see one menses, and another menses. So before you could conveniently say, oh, this is my cycle length, you need to take 3 cycles into perspective. So you note the date, okay, you see your menses now. Then when you see the next menses, the first day of the next menses, you take note of the date, you write it down. So that's how you do it for the subsequent ones. So you have like 4 different dates. Now, out of those 4 different dates, in between is your cycle length. So you have 3 different cycles lengths. So you count it, literally use your calendar and count. So how many days did it take me to see this menses now? So you count the number of days, and after counting it, you divide it by 3. So if it took me like 26 days, for example, in the first cycle, the second cycle took me 26 days, the third cycle took me 26 days. When you add it up, to give you around, say, I think 78. When you divide it by 3, you have 26. Very simple, right? So what if in the first month, in the first cycle, you see it like, let's say, 27 days. The next one you see it 28 days. The next one you see it 29 days. When you add it up, I think it's give you around 81. Divide it by 3. You divide it around 81 or 82 or thereabout. You divide it by 3. I'm sure it will give you 28 as the answer. Okay. Same thing if it's, for example, you have it like 28 the first cycle, 28 second cycle, 29. I think that will be around 85. You divide it by 2 to give you 28 point something. So you take the whole number as the average. So now that you understand how to get your menstrual cycle length, now let's talk about the safe unsafe period. So what makes it unsafe? Why does the term unsafe and safe period come about? It all has to do with the ovulation period. So for a woman that doesn't want to get pregnant, that period during ovulation, you say it's unsafe because any mistake during that period can make the person get pregnant. But for a woman that is desirous of pregnancy, that period is termed fertile period because that's when the chances, it has the highest chance of ever getting pregnant. Yes. So how do you get, for you to be able to know these periods, and someone that is desirous of pregnancy having problems getting pregnant, how do you know when you are ovulating? There are different signs, right? For some, the body temperature becomes warmer, there's some kind of slimy discharge coming out from the vagina, then it becomes stretchy. Yeah, your body sensation within that period, sometimes you could feel a sharp pain at the side, call it the middle pain or the Mittelsnish. That's the jargon. Middle pain. Sometimes you feel pain. Sometimes you just feel very, very warm, and within that period, their libido tends to increase, and they are very, very welcoming in that period. Yes. So those are the signs, but how do you really calculate it? That's very important. So when you have known your last menstrual period, you know your cycle length. The first thing you need to, next thing you need to know is that for all women, cycle lengths vary, but you see the duration between your when you ovulate and when you see the next menses is usually the same for all women, and it's usually 14 days. So first things first, after knowing that, you'll now be able to calculate how many days after my menses will I ovulate. So the first thing you need to do is you count backward. So I'm ovulating today now. I'll count 14 days backward. Use your calendar, literally count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count it up to 14. And then note the day. Let's say, for example, I saw the menses on the 28th of July. I count backward, 14 days backward. So it will take me to 14th July. That means I ovulated on the 14th of July. So that's being said, you now take note of your previous menses. When did you see the previous menses? So when you have noted it, you count the number of days between that last menses and that 14th of July. So let's say, for example, I saw it on the 1st of July. So, and I know that my cycle length is 28 days. So once you count it, you see that at the day 14th of July, this is an example of 14th of July, that's when I ovulated, or that's the most likely date I ovulate. But sometimes you cannot really say that, oh, at that exact date you ovulate. So what do you do? The 2 days before that day and 2 days after that day is unsafe. Someone that is not desirous of pregnancy. And for someone that is desirous of pregnancy, it's the fertile period. Yes, that you need to meet with your husband, right? So that's very important. So you note that if you don't know your cycle length, your menstrual cycle length, it's very difficult for you to be able to know when safe and unsafe. All right. So any other day apart aside from this period I said, 2 days before the ovulation day, 2 days after, any other day outside that is then safe period. Okay, so I'll use another example again. Let's say I have a cycle length of 26 days, right? I'll still use the day now. I see my menses on the 28th of July. Counting backwards, you see that 14th, that's when I ovulated. But when did I see my menses? The previous menses will probably be around 3rd of July. Yes, because when you count it, it's first of all, the cycle length must correspond to 26 days, And then when you take out the 14 days from the ovulation to this current menses, the remaining days is now the variable period that is not constant for all women. So some could be 12 days before their ovulation. That's once I see my menses, take me 4 days before and 12 days before I ovulate. Some it could be 10 days, some it could be 14, some it could be 16, some it could be 18. It all depends on the cycle length. And you should know that a normal cycle length ranges between 21 days and 35 days. So for some persons, it's not uncommon for them to see their menses twice in a month. Just imagine if someone with a 24-day cycle, for example, sees the menses on the 3rd of, let's say, July. And when you count 24 days after, is to see another menses. So most likely on the 27th or 28th of that same month, you still see the menses. So it's more or less like he's seeing the menses twice in a month. So it's not uncommon. But if someone with a 32-day cycle, for example, cannot see menses, his or her menses twice in a month, it's abnormal, because there's something wrong somewhere. Okay, so it's very important that you've taken notes. I don't know if what I've said so far have been able to help you. So to recap as a summary of all the things I've said, first things first, you know how to record your last menstrual period. It's usually the first day you start seeing your menses, you record it. And if when you are counting, that first day of the menses is your day 1, then you know your menstrual cycle length. When you have been able to establish that, from that particular day you see your menses last, you now count 14 days backward. That will be your most likely date of ovulation. And then you take note of your previous date of menses and count the days between that ovulation day and that day. So that will give you an idea of how many days after when I start seeing my menses, how many days will it take me to my ovulation day. And when you have been able to do that, 2 days before and 2 days after that day is termed unsafe for a woman that is not desirous of pregnancy, and fertile for a woman that is desirous of pregnancy. Alright, I hope this video has been helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe, and remember, Solving Telemedicine is 24/7 online consultation platform. We are here to serve you. Please hit on the link below and give it a thumbs up. Thank you.